Howdy. Well, you guys have a challenge ahead of you, and I'm here to just get you prepared for it a little bit by sharing some things that might help you go into it. Teaching, or making things for people who are visually impaired isn't always easy. There's a few things you've got to think about, so I'm going to try and give you guys just a real 5-minute crash course on some things so that hopefully while you're doing it, it isn't as challenging and, well, you succeed, hopefully. So, some of the challenges in doing things without sight. You're going to have to try it more than once. That's just a give. Try it. Did it work? Figure out what's wrong. Try it again. It's okay to fail, but in an experiment like this, in a situation like this, you can't fail at the end. You got to fail at the beginning and try it and do it again. Crazy ideas are okay. You never know what's going to work. Half of the things we have in the world, like these crazy cell phones and everything, were crazy ideas at one point. So feel free to get a little nutty with what you're doing and try something to see if it works. And in the end, make sure you experiment with it. If you have an idea, make sure you take the time, slow down a little, and go through it and make sure that people within your group that may be simulating things can actually do it. There's nothing worse than having an idea and a set of instructions, getting there, and then them not understanding what's going on. So, about instructions. You have to describe what you're using. You don't necessarily know what's in the bag, and the people out there may not know what you're talking about. So the shape of something is really important. The features of it, like if it has a pointy end or a round end or a flat end or a long end, things like that can be really helpful. When you're trying to explain to someone who's visually impaired how to do something, you have to use really good words. You can't just say, put this thing over here and then do that to it. They will not look at you in a strange way. You need to use words like up, down, left, right, above, behind, under. You need to use those words so that the person knows where to put their hands in the world and in space and where to move things. You need to avoid talking things about grab the blue one, grab the blue one, grab the blue one. It's not going to work. Use relevant descriptives when you're talking about things. And also, whenever you're organizing your stuff, be organized. Sometimes we have a habit of if we've got, say, a bag of stuff sitting on a table, we turn it upside down and then start doing things. That's not going to work because you didn't see everything that came out of it. So you need to take the items out, know about how many of what you have, and put, like, the sticks on the right, the rope on the left, the wire over here. Those little details, whenever you're organizing your materials, will help the person in the end get there successfully. You've got to be very careful about explanations. The other thing is, people that are suddenly find themselves being blind are very different from people who are born that way in a lot of ways. That's a lot of what my research is about. So people, and also individuals, are all different. So you may explain to something, no, move it up, move it back a little more, back a little more, back a lot, back an inch. Those sorts of instructions may be good with one person, but bad with another. So you want to kind of hit the middle. Some people read Braille, newly blind people don't. That may not be helpful. Some people are well organized. Some people are used to doing lots of things with their fingers. If someone, say, played piano, their motor dexterity in their fingers or play an instrument would be really, really good. If they played video games, it's just their thumbs that are fast. So don't go that way. And in the end, remember that whatever situation you guys are working on, the people you're working with are all different. So don't assume anything about it. Just try and fill it out as much as you can, and don't leave anything for guesswork. If they have to guess or you have to wonder about it, then they're probably not going to understand what you're trying to say.
So here's your challenge. We are going to solve this problem like engineers. So engineers are problem solvers. They use a very systematic process to examine everything they need to know and put that together into a solution. So your team is going to work together to solve the student's problem, the ones that are trapped in the woods. Unfortunately, we can't be there to help them actually implement the solution. So when you are designing this, you need to keep in mind that the two students who will be building it are both injured. One is blind and one does not have use of her hands. So we are going to have to simulate that environment. Engineers do this a lot. If they cannot be where their design is going to be implemented, they have to use a simulation. So we're going to simulate that environment. Your task is to design some mechanism that will assist these students to get across the river so that the rescue teams can get to them. You want to make sure that it can support their weight with limited sagging. We don't want them ending up in the river or getting wet, because if they have been contaminated with the fuzzy mud, it could get into the water stream. You want to make sure that the solution you design and prototype and test is something that the students in the woods can put together themselves. So you need to think about simple construction and very clear directions. Time is of the essence. We have 2 students, health and safety, who are depending on the solutions you guys come up with. So we are going to give you a time limit. And the first team who is able to successfully test their solution is going to be the winner of the challenge, so that we can communicate this back to our injured and trapped students.
All right, we have a winner! Awesome job!